Did Matt Rhule and Brent Venables do what they must, or are they at the cutting edge of what the future of college football is in their general manager hires? What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. If this is your first time watching the #1 college football show, welcome. Thank you for joining us here. If you like what I'm throwing down, hit that subscribe button, like this video, and answer this question in the comments below. Do you think more big-time college football programs should hire NFL-style general managers? The reason I think this question is interesting is because that's exactly what Nebraska and Oklahoma did. And I think it is instructive that both Nebraska and Oklahoma did this basically the same day, okay? I think Jim Nagi being hired at Oklahoma is the best support staff hire this offseason, and quite literally the best hire that we have seen outside of coaches, okay? The reason I can say this is nobody has a deeper Rolodex, more people he's been in contact with, and has more paper on player evaluations than Jim Nagi. This man was the Senior Bowl executive director for the last 7 years. He turned that All-Star game into the preeminent All-Star game. And he's been so good at selecting players to join that All-Star game. And then, a stroke of genius, I'm going to invite not just seniors anymore. I'm going to invite underclassmen who have declared that I think are good. What that resulted in was a banner year for the Senior Bowl. They had 110 players selected in the 2024 NFL draft. That's more than 40%. They had 10 first-rounders selected, and they had 45 of the top 100 players selected. The man knows from NFL talent, and he has relationships with all 32 NFL teams, and he worked for 6 of them. 6 of them had appearances in the Super Bowl, 4-1 rings. He's got 18 years working in the NFL as a scout, which is his background, scout, okay? And that's important. I'm going to come back to that. Add to this, anybody that Jim Nagi wants to talk to, he can, but also he's been inside your head coach's office. He's been inside your building because that's what he did. He traveled all over the country talking to players and coaches about players and coaches. There isn't a front office in college football he hasn't seen, and since he has been really good about extending invitations to FCS players, you can make an argument that Jim Nagi has been in more than 150, even 200 college football programs in the last 5 years annually. Think about that. Okay, so now you have all that coming to Oklahoma to be a general manager, which is going to fit the mold of what you expect an NFL-style general manager to be. Talent evaluation, talent acquisition, development, recruitment, compensation, all of it. He's going to contribute to that. I think that is going to help Oklahoma win right now. Now, you got the spring portal window coming up, and that's probably going to be the last of its kind for a long time because they're trying to get that one out, make it one portal window. But over the course of this, you also have a general manager who's keeping tabs, keeping notes, who's going to have exactly what it is that a coach is looking for, ready to go, and go financially fight for that player to get them to Oklahoma for 2026. On the other side, you've got Nebraska, who hired Patrick Stewart, who is the director of player personnel at the New England Patriots, to be the general manager of Nebraska, to fill the same role. Same similar background, right? Both of these positions are brand new to the sport, and they have come out of necessity. General manager is not a job that many people thought would exist in college football 5, 6, 7 years ago, okay? But what it had become was the best film junkie with nothing much else to do in your room who was ready for the task, learned how to negotiate contracts on the fly, because with the name, image, and likeness, you started to have to pay players to come to you, which means you had to know what you were buying, okay? So you needed to evaluate that talent and then offer them what becomes fair market value over the course of some time as we're working out what the market is. And we've since learned that quarterbacks are worth between $1 and $5 million annually, right? That's the number. That's the highest paid player probably in your entire college athletics company, right? That's one thing. But when we get the House versus the NCAA being settled, we're talking about billions of dollars that are going to be divvied up between players. We're also talking about a redistribution of the revenue sharing, as you know, which means that if House v. NCAA settles, and we think it will, this year, the fiscal year, July 1, colleges will have $20.5 million to spend on their entire athletics program. You expect $12, $13 million of that to go toward building a championship level football team. Okay, that's Georgia, for instance. The rest you're going to have to divvy up: baseball, men's basketball, women's basketball, on down the line. Title IX is going to get involved in this. It's going to get hairy. Nobody knows how that's really going to shake out. Then you have your name, image, and likeness collectives, which are another third-party arm that has gone from a glorified booster club into a marketing and donation arm that is also dispensing revenue to players. So they're filling the gaps that are left because the university can only spend this $20.5 million. You have what is essentially an uncapped number over here that is your name, image, and likeness collectives. At a place like Ohio State, you got two. And in having two, you basically got three entities that can pay across the board, but one that is specifically for football at Ohio State and one is for everybody, right? You can fill in as you need. Those three arms got to work in concert, right? And you are expecting the university to take something like the lead on this, which means a point man. The point man is probably going to be the general manager, who will be as powerful as the general manager at most NFL, NBA, and Major League Baseball franchises. I foresee this doesn't end here. I think Jim Nagi is the best hire of this offseason. I think behind him is Patrick Stewart, right? Because of what that job entails and their background for it. Right now, those are two best guys. In 5 years, I'm not sure that's going to be true. In 5 years, I expect to find out we get Billy Beane, we get Peter Brand. We have seen ESPN will pay nearly $8 billion for the rights to the 12-team playoff. Okay? We have seen that the Big Ten will redistribute about $1 billion in revenue from television. SEC is going to get close to that. ACC, not so close, but still lots of money. Big 12, same difference. What I'm interested in is what's going to happen in these group of 5 programs that do not have the budget to go hire Jim Nagi or Patrick Stewart, who aren't blue bloods. What are they going to do? Probably what the Oakland A's were forced to do. When you lose Jason Giambi, you don't get to replace Jason Giambi right away. You usually got to replace him with 3 or 4 other guys that make up what was the Jason Giambi body of work. You saw the Oakland A's turn batting average into on-base percentage, right? We've seen pitchers limited to 5 innings as starters. We have seen the shift get outlawed because it was so good at doing exactly what it was going to do, which is field where the ball is probably going to go. You saw what people refer to as Moneyball, okay? This is maximizing value. This is what private equity does, and they're getting involved in what we do, and hedge funds do very well. And frankly, how this show got here. You spot a market inefficiency and you exploit it, right? There have been ways in which I made some mistakes, some things that I probably would have done differently, but the juice is the same, right? I think when I'm talking about Nevada, when I'm talking about Colorado State, when I'm talking about Fresno State, San Diego State, those are the programs that I expect to find out will hire a wet behind the ears MBA graduate from a liberal arts university or some Ivy League to say, okay, what kind of money do we have at our disposal and what is the best use of that money in building a football team that can compete for championships? Usually, it is not doing things conventionally. It is doing things so unorthodox that they are going to make the hairs on the back of your neck stand up. I'll give you an example. Assume you don't have $20 million to spend, right? You're looking at that number that they're capping for Notre Dame, Oklahoma, Nebraska, Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia, and you're going, we might not even get to half of that. So let's assume you get $5 million to spend. It's not a large sum of money in today's college football. How would you spend it? Well, depends on your needs, right? If you know you've got a quarterback who is accurate downfield but doesn't have the, let's call it, quick game or intermediate passing accuracy that you would like, and you know you got a couple of burners on the outside, what do you need? You need to be able to throw the ball down the field. Okay, What if you can't afford an offensive line that's going to give him enough protection to take his drop, to make his read, and to get the ball downfield? You're going to spend money on offensive linemen that have very particular skill sets that they might even know. They might not know that their skill set is getting on base. Doesn't matter if they get walked, get hit, whatever. Work counts, can hit balls into gaps where there aren't players. Whatever it is, right? The result is what you're after. I imagine a right tackle who, for once, can't down block, which is what a right tackle traditionally can do. They can down block. They're not great in pass protection. That's why the left tackle is usually their best pass protector. But you have a right tackle who can't down block to save his life, but he's a great pass protector. And you can trust him against edge rushers. Okay, in the middle of that offensive line, do you have guys that can pass protect? Maybe not. Maybe you got guys that can down block. Maybe you got guys that are great as double teams. Okay, let's create pass schemes that allow for such thing, because we're not interested in running the ball. We're not interested in running the ball to that side, and we're certainly not interested in having our quarterback make throws that he is not good at, inefficient. We're looking to scheme all that out. So you're going to tell the head coach, I have players for you for where you can hit home runs. You can throw sixes, right? You can run 4 verts as much as you want because I've given you this, because this is what we got the budget to do. If you got a head coach that's not on board with that, you're probably not going to be any good. And this is where you get the managers legislated out of the game, right? Like Dave Roberts is essentially given a lineup card and told, hey, do it this way. And Dave Roberts, smart, because I do this, hey, they said do it this way, it works, we won a World Series. I don't give a damn that I'm not really the person that's creating the ways in which we're going to win, because we're an organization, right? I'm doing my job in that organization. Is a head coach going to be willing to do something like that? He will be if he wants to win. Because if it comes to, hey, get me more money or do the best you can what you have, most managers don't want to hear that you want a bigger budget. They don't. They don't want to hear you need more money to blow. They want to know that you can do enough of what you have. Now, that becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, because eventually you do enough of what you have, me, and you go, okay, how much longer do I need to do this, right? That is an open question, right? That what people are willing to pay you is not necessarily what you're worth. But you can always make the argument that what you're getting paid is what you're worth. So if you're getting overpaid to do a job, be grateful. If you're getting underpaid to do a job, do a better job until you can get overpaid. That's the only way to do this, right? That's how capitalism works. I think all of this is interesting, and that's one of the reasons I want to talk about Patrick Stewart and Jim Nagy. But give me your thoughts. I think Moneyball is coming into college football sooner than you think. I don't think that you're always going to like it, but I do think you like watching good football. And as long as the football is good, you're going to be okay. We're not Major League Baseball. We don't play that many games, but we do have a tendency to create stars. And as long as there's a Shohei Ohtani around, you're going to watch Major League Baseball. Doesn't matter that the Dodgers have the best team that money can buy. It's a fantastic team to watch, so you put that part aside.